What if I told you that these cheap arrows cost the same, but the one will be more accurate than the other? They might look the same, but here's the difference. This arrow with the white fletches is the arrow that I've spent zero effort on. I grabbed 6 shaft, 6 points, 6 inserts, and this is the standard knock it comes with. I did not spin these. It took me about 10 minutes to assemble these. They cut at 29 inches. I did not weigh all 6 at the end. This was a very easy build to make, but this arrow I've spent about 2.5 to 3 hours in getting ready. I grabbed 24 shaft, I've spin tested them, I ended up weighing them, I ended up weighing the knock, I added the uni-bushing. This uni-bushing does make an accuracy difference. The fletches, I've weighed all of them. I've made sure that these insert all weigh the same, so that the points that I've got inserted in this actual arrow does spin well, and this arrow weighs 467.5 grains, all 6 of them. Although these 2 arrows are identical, it is about the amount of effort that you put in assembling these 2 arrows, and that is what we're going to put to the test today. Will this arrow that we've put so much time and effort in be so much more accurate than the one we did not spend any time on? We are going to shoot at a distance of 60 yards. I'm going to use the Void RX9 Ultra. This bow is set at 70 pounds, 29-inch draw. These arrows are 300 spine with a 50 grain brass insert and 100 grain field point in the front. This is tuning perfectly. It's shooting a perfect bullet hole. We've done walk back tests. So this is the exact arrow that we can shoot out of this bow. So this is a fair comparison that we're doing. The only difference is this arrow that with the orange fletches that we have spent time on weighs 467.5, and this arrow is 10 grains lighter, so it'll shoot a little bit higher, and I'll make sure that I make the adjustment, that we do the test fair and that we give both these arrows a chance to see which one is going to be the most accurate. This is a official World Archery face. The 10 ring is 3 inches in diameter. We are going to shoot at 60 yards. I'm going to shoot the orange fletched arrows on target number 1, and the white ones I'm going to shoot on target number 2. I'm going to shoot 6 arrows at a time, and then I'm going to come and draw. We're going to look at our comparison of the grouping sizes. I am expecting the orange arrows to group a little bit better. There is some wind that's going to play a factor. The orange arrows are straight, they weigh the same. The white ones do have differences in weight, and there are some arrows here that do not spin as well as the others, but we are going to put them to this test. In essence, we are going to look at the grouping sizes more than the actual score. I think that's enough talking. Let's get into it. We're doing the test on brand new target faces, so you will see that there's no editing or no funny business when we're shooting here. We are shooting 6 on each target. This is the first arrow of our orange fletches. That's a nice shot, that's money, that's in the X. With these 6.5 arrows, I am expecting a little bit of wind drift. I'm going to keep on aiming in the 10. We are going to focus on group sizes. This is shot number 2. Was also a well executed shot. The reason why we are shooting at 60 yards, doing these tests at shorter difference, in my opinion, is not really going to showcase the actual difference between the arrows itself, and why you would spend time on making a cheap arrow accurate and hopefully get it to shoot really well. And that's what we're doing today, and I'm doing these tests for you so you do not have to. That shot went off left. I know that for a fact. And with this hunting bow with the short stabilizers, it definitely does have a bit more movement than a target bow. But that one that's in the left in the 9, not the best one. The wind picked up really bad there, a little bit low, still a decent group. This is arrow number 6. That was a nicely executed shot. The grouping is not bad. Maybe a little bit to the left, but I'm not going to make any sight adjustments. We're going to go into the white Fletcher's arrows. These arrows are 10 grains lighter. I am expecting this to be shooting a little bit higher, but I'm not going to adjust my sight. We are looking at grouping sizes itself, but wherever this hits, it'll also show you the importance of having your arrows weigh the same and how much 10 grains can make a difference at this distance of 60 yards. Now you can immediately see that is almost 2 inches higher than what I was expecting it to be high. That's on the 989 line. Shot number 2. One big difference between the two arrows is this is the standard knock that this 6.5 comes out with. It's a bigger knock than the G knocks that I've got on the other arrows, and I've got uni bushings on those arrows. I found that that makes a big difference in accuracy, especially at the longer distances. And the other thing is also these knocks, when you are shooting a nice grouping and you do hit the knock at the back, and if you shoot it hard at the back, it might end up cracking your arrow itself. So you're going to have to end up throwing it away, or you're going to have to cut half an inch at the back often and reuse that arrow. But with the uni bushing, it just basically deflects it, and then you can either replace the knock in your uni bushing, but your arrow will still be fine. Shot number 3. That shot went off nicely, but that one is far left. There was no wind. I actually would just want to check that arrow and see the straightness on that specific one. And sometimes when you get an arrow that is completely out of the group like that, you can just turn the knock, and hopefully that'll make the actual arrow just get into that grouping itself. So I'm going to mark that arrow and see if I'm going to miss it that far left with my second round again. The final arrow of 6 was a nice shot. The first set of arrows that I've shot, the wind was blowing a little bit, so I've got some left and right movement, but the grouping overall is more horizontal. The second set that I've shot of 6 with the white Fletchers, there is also a little bit of a spread. The wind did not blow as much. Still gave me a nice and a good grouping. All these arrows that we spent time on working with, as you can see, it's a horizontal spread. I can't really say it's a nice horizontal spread. This is about a, let's just double check this. This is about a 4.5 inch grouping versus this, which is just over 5 inches. But we've got a nice round group here with these arrows. This specific arrow did not shoot that well, and I'm going to pull this and I'm just going to see whether it spins nice or not. It's not bad. I'm going to rotate the knock on this one, but I am going to mark it, and I'm going to see if it is making a difference, if it's going to come back into the grouping itself. And what is important is that we are trying to find whether it is worth putting in the time and effort in just cheap arrows, not spending time on it, or whether you should spend the time and effort on it. What is important to take note here is the white arrows are shooting almost 2.5 inches higher than the orange arrows. It is important that you know that your arrows weigh the same. That 2.5 inches is going to be the difference in getting a vital shot on your deer and on your animal that you're going to hunt, and not getting a spine shot or completely miss it. So make sure that you know that your arrows weigh the same before putting it in your kit. I'm starting with the white fletched arrows. I'm going to shoot that on the right hand target. Let's see for round number 2. That one went off in the 10. Second last arrow. with the slightly longer stabilizers, it does help me with my aiming. This is the arrow that was shooting left of that initial group. I'm gonna just rotate it completely, that I am changing in essence, well, the spine a little bit. Maybe that was out. The arrow wasn't spinning bad at all. Last shot. Oppa. Yeah, the wind picked up there a little bit. Not a bad shot at all. I'm not sure where that hit. I think it was a little bit on the left hand side. We'll go see in the front there. We're gonna shoot the last 6 of the orange arrows, see if I can improve on my grouping that I shot there. That grouping was more horizontal than anything else. Arrow number 2. Yeah, with this wind, I do need this bow to just settle in. You can clearly see the movement with the wind that's blowing my bow the whole time. But not bad. Yeah, that was difficult with the wind. Yeah, I can see a nice grouping getting there. Just want to show you the wind. You can clearly see that the wind is blowing hard. This last end that the last 6 arrows that I've shot in this windy conditions was definitely the most challenging of the lot of the arrows that I've shot today. It will be interesting to see what the end result will be between the 2 arrows. Yeah, happy with that execution. I've shot 12 of each of the arrows. I think I'm going to do another round. I've got a grouping going and the wind was playing a role, and I'm not entirely happy with the shots that's been shot. So we're going to do another test, another round, and look at the grouping. So in essence, we're going to shoot 18 arrows with each of the arrows, and we'll see what we're going to get there. It's actually quite interesting to see. I'm a little bit frustrated that I'm not seeing more 10s, to be very honest with you, but these last 6 arrows, the wind was blowing. It was challenging to get the arrows to go off. And the actual arrow with the mark that I had, which was shooting far left, that is more so into the bunch. So me rotating the knock did help. I'm going to start again with the white arrows. That is interesting. That is in the 10, and I was expecting that to shoot higher, because it should be shooting high because it's 10 grains lighter. So that is interesting, because that was a well executed shot. And as you're working through shooting, it's important to make sure that you keep your form and posture and you don't start leaning back too far, especially when you are aiming for a long time. Not badly executed. This bow is set at 80% let off. I actually prefer it even lower than that. My target bow is set at 65. I would make the adjustments to put this to 75. It's just nicer if the string is a little bit tighter, so when you execute, it's just like a cleaner feel and break, and it's going to be more forgiving as well. Ah, that was dancing all over the show. The wind is not giving me a break. Oh, that's a horrible shot. That was on the right hand side when that went off. That last shot with the wind, I'm just going to disregard that arrow completely, because that wasn't a well executed shot at all. So that was me just making a bad shot. So for the sake of this video and just giving that a fair chance, I am going to remove it completely. I am a little bit frustrated, to be honest with you, spending the time and effort in assembling these arrows and getting this kind of result. These arrows I've spent 2.5 hours in assembling. These arrows I've actually just grabbed arrows and components and I've asked someone just to build it for me. And when I look at the final result of shooting 18 arrows, the spread is actually pretty much the same. If I compare these in a vertical, that's about almost 4.5 versus this from furthest to there's 4.5 inches. And if I look at the horizontal group, that is 6.5 versus 6.5. So it's, in my opinion, actually the same. What does frustrate me, and something that I do need to mention, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to get some interesting comments about it. When I do shoot at 60 yards, we shoot at 50 meters all the time with my setup and my equipment that I'm using. In these conditions that we were shooting today, I can hit the 10 most of the time. I can group my arrows there and I can get some good groupings out of, 36 arrows in total. What does frustrate me is I did not get a really nice grouping of any of these arrows. And it sort of tells me a few things. When the wind is blowing like it is today, I definitely would want to invest in better arrows. I would not spend as much time in building a cheap arrow to shoot like an expensive arrow. I would just go and I would buy better quality arrows. Those that spin better with better components and all of those things. And with conditions like this, a 4 or 5 mil arrow is definitely going to be better. These arrows do have a brass insert and it's got a 100 grain point in the front. So the front of center of these arrows are actually good and they should be able to shoot well at longer distances. When the wind is not blowing, and if we stand at 30 yards, we'll be able to shoot at 10 the whole day. But we were standing at 60 yards, double the distance, and the wind was blowing, and this is the kind of results that we got. Like I said, I'm doing these tests for you, so you don't have to. Leave me a comment down below and tell me what you think about this video and the comparison. What did we do that you think we should have done, and we might get it done in the next video. And thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next one.